All right, we have rebranded. I used to call it 3 a.m. Pillow Talk. We're now 3 a.m. Podcast. We're trying to be a little more adult about it.
Okay.
We have Sarah Amick on, and who are you? Why are you on the podcast?
Well, honestly, I've been trying to get a feel for this whole loneliness epidemic, I guess, between men and women. It's a bummer. I have two young boys that are 27 and 17. So, I'd like to know what's going on. I mean, at this point in my life, I'm not really interested in actively looking for a partner, but
Yeah.
it's just a lot of these groups I'm in, a lot of the shit that men and women go back and forth on just seems like it's 100% preventable. It's just like an instant gratification society, basically, is what it's become. You've got so many options at your fingertips. You think you can do better. People just aren't creating bonds anymore, really.
Yeah, everything seems to be going on over the internet. So we've become far too comfortable with comfortability, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of it has to do with risk aversion because we're all tired. We're all scared to get hurt, and
Mhm.
I think it's doing something, but this is just obviously one part of I think what is a multifaceted problem. But we have like dating apps. All right, so since 2007, all right, I'm gonna go a little off topic already. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm gonna fucking do that. So since 2007, health cases have skyrocketed. And then they skyrocketed again in 2013. Now, 2017 or 2007 is when Facebook come out.
Right.
So I think a lot of the online, so I think it's made people far too comfortable with just speaking. I'm going to say bullshit opinions sometimes, or it's made people far too comfortable with not having to have that face to face interaction.
Well, yeah, you used to have to actually actively seek out interaction with other people. And it's so much easier on the internet to find your niche. And then it's just an echo chamber at that point. Like,
Yeah, full of confirmation bias.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so let's think. I pulled up a couple statistics. All right, first of all, let's go. I know I messaged you about this last night, but I've got a big problem with online dating, and I am on one online dating site right now. I use it more as an experiment. I do these little micro experiments all through my life to try to. I went through this phase where I started to really trying to figure people out, and so I cannot go into a social interaction or anything like that without analyzing,
Right.
like super analyzing it, trying to figure out what's going on, how people are behaving, how people are reacting. And so I wrote down some statistics, and I'm going to ask you about these and see what you think about them, okay? But
Okay.
I want to get what I am always missing. I am missing a lot of the female side of what's going on. So I've got female friends and I see them dating and I see that. So for any men that actually they hate women and I hear all this divisive language between men and women, I can tell
Oh,
you
yeah.
I can say from pure experience that women get deeply hurt when they like a guy. I've seen women lose their fucking minds
Yeah.
because they like a guy and they were having some fucking anxiety. So through having female friends, I get to see a small part
All right.
of what's going on in their dating life. But it's good to bring a woman on and have kind of get that other perspective. And then I think that it's actually, when I can talk about men for years. I've talked about men for years. And
All
I
right.
made videos about men, how men need to be better. But the second I put something out about women, maybe it's because I'm a man,
Right.
but the second I put something out about women, I get absolutely jumped. So it's good. So it's good to have a woman on just to hear a different perspective.
I mean, and mine is going to be slightly different, but that's what I was kind of explaining to you too on Messenger. Is I'm kind of a dude. I mean, really. So I might not be the best, like, woman's perspective per se, but
Well, no, you can't help but give a woman's perspective. If I want to,
well,
because you are a woman, no matter what. I mean, you may be a
I mean,
tomboy, or but you're still having to deal with men.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's really the kind of the perspective that I'm looking at. So I'm going to run a statistic by you and see what you think about it. Maybe see what your your take is on it.
Okay. And I'm gonna try to get my
Or
continue to stand up.
work on your phone for a minute. Is there a cup of water behind it? What did you put behind it?
Well, I need something rigid in front of it so it doesn't fall forward. There. There we go. Maybe. Okay.
I used to use my candle. I used to put a cup of water behind my phone and use my candle.
There we go. Maybe. Okay. Okay.
Okay. We are having less sex despite the access to sex. We can pick up our phone, see porn. We can pick up our phone, whatever options we have on our phone. Yet we're still having less sex than ever in recorded history. So we've got in 1990, 55% of adults ages 18 to 64 reported having sex about once a week. Now, as of 2024, that dropped to around 37%. So it seems like if we continue a trend like that in another 20, 30 years, there's going to be very few people having sex.
I mean, I know
Now,
that.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I will
No,
hog the
I'm fine.
fucking conversation. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I know that's true for me only because, as far as for me, I mean, sex creates a bond with a person. So, people are out here just being so casual. And once you sleep with an exorbitant amount of people, you have a really hard time creating an intimate bond with a person. You know what I mean? Because you're just like,
Yeah.
you're spreading yourself so thin, your psyche basically, because whether it's like I've had friends with benefits over the years, and that worked for me because like I told you after my ex-husband, like marital rape is a thing, man, and I went through that shit for 10 years. So I just
Yeah.
wasn't interested for a long time because, it was my job to and it was not once a week, it was twice a day basically. So, I just friends with benefits works for me. Like at this point in my life, like my boys are basically grown. For young people, though, it breaks my heart, honestly. Like I said, I have 2 young sons. It's hard out there, man, and women are bitches be crazy.
Yeah, and it seems to be a trend. It seems to be a trend because millennials are having less sex than Gen X at the same age, and Gen Z are having less sex than millennials at the
Real,
same age. Yeah, and this
real,
is also happening with partnered and married people. So it's
real.
not just people in the dating pool or in the dating market, the sexual marketplace. It's everybody.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, because like
Yeah.
when I'm with a partner, yeah, I have a pretty high libido, so that's a strange statistic to me. I don't know.
Well, I've got some theories.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear them.
Okay, so I think porn. I think it's easier access to porn. I think that's one thing. I think that men especially, although women are starting to consume more and more, I think men consume more visual porn and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think it has actually taken away men's. Okay, so we like the path of least resistance as humans, right? Like we would like the path of least resistance.
I mean, well,
If
yeah.
we didn't, yeah, if we didn't take the path of least resistance, I don't think we'd be here because from an evolutionary perspective, we had to take the path of least resistance. At the same time, keeping a strong negative bias to
Right.
look out for threat. But so I wrote just a couple of things down. I've never wrote shit down during a podcast before, but I figured I'd write it. I'm trying to do a little something different with this podcast. I think porn and social media have gotten in the way. I
Absolutely.
think less in-person socializing
Yeah. 100%.
and there's this thing, dating app fatigue. So
That I tried. Man, I got on Facebook dating and I lasted like 3 days. I was like, yeah, nope, this ain't for me.
how many messages did you get a day? I'm curious about this.
A lot, a lot, a lot. I would say probably 20, 20 to 30 a day.
I read somewhere
And
that it
honestly,
takes
and nobody
the
really like knows how to hold a conversation through words, really, like typed words. Like I'm not here for your one-liner bullshit, bro. Like like if you can't hold a conversation through text, then I don't know. I'm like,
well,
that's like the turn off.
well, can I challenge that a little bit? I think that through text anyways, I think is kind of a bad way to have a conversation or through our keyboards because we've got that. I think there's a part of our brain that we still have that predates spoken word.
Yeah,
And so,
but he's great at, written language. So I get that. I
well,
get that.
before spoken word, we had to read body language and we had to pick up on a lot more nuances
Right.
of people. It wasn't all just grunting. There's a lot of body language, stuff like that. And I think we're missing out a lot when I don't like to text a lot. If I'm talking to a woman or if I like her a lot, even if I like her a lot, I'm very, very careful about texting too much. I try to draw it into an in-person conversation, even if it's in a public area or it's, I don't care if it's a fucking grocery store.
Well, even just a
Just,
phone call, because honestly, then you got at least the voice inflection, at the
yeah,
very
yeah.
least. Mhm.
And so I think so men on average, okay, I read, I think Scott Galloway said this. He's an author and a public speaker. Don't quote me exactly. It might not be Scott Galloway that said this, but somebody said the average looking man that is under 6 foot, it takes him 1,000 swipes to get 5 copy dates.
Oh
And
yeah,
he will
6.
get ghosted.
Mm,
He will get ghosted from 4 of those copy dates.
wow, crazy. I know I've heard the whole, a man's gotta have the 3 sixes.
But yeah. Yeah, what is it?
Like,
Six
6
figures,
figures.
6 inch. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Um,
shallow because, like I said, you can swipe right, or is it swipe left?
well,
I don't.
yeah, and it's all based on appearance now, which is kind of, I think, the way humans, anyways, judge. I think that when we get together, even in person, I think is based off appearance at first. I think that's going to be our visual cue.
Well, I mean,
I know
yeah.
with men, anyways. I know with men, it's that way, anyways. But so if we look at every man in the United States, anyways, we won't go globally, that is over 6 foot tall, he's got 6 inch dick, and he's making 6 figures.
Oh, I
I
thought it
think that,
was a six pack. It's a 6-inch dick? Oh, shit.
yeah, yeah, that's the standard. So, and I got a lot to expand on this. So, you're looking at 0.2% of men in the United States that have that.
That have all 3, yeah.
Yes. So we have twice as many female ancestors as male ancestors.
Hope you don't mind if I smoke on camera.
Smoke on camera. I vape. Sometimes when I first started doing podcasts, it was like this. Like I had no clue what the fuck. I was blowing right into the fucking camera. I was fucking being an asshole. You can smoke on camera, of course.
Okay.
Um, so we've got twice as many female ancestors as male ancestors. And I think it's always been that way. Women are somewhat hypergamous and men are hypogamous.
Okay,
So with
I've never heard those terms, to break that down.
Okay. So with hypergamy, women tend to date across and up. Men tend to date across and down with hypogamy. So
Okay.
when 80% of the women have been chasing after, they've been wanting 20% of the men for,
Oh,
I think, as long as we've been around.
right. I think that probably just goes back to, wanting, I guess, good genes for, I don't know.
Have you heard of the dual mating strategy?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's an evolutionary psych term. So we figured out, all right, and we're going to go a little off topic again. I'm very talkative right
I
now.
probably have heard it, but not. I want to hear it.
Okay, so we have figured out for the most part why men cheat and why women cheat.
Okay.
Men cheat for novelty. A man can go out of his house, leave his family, go sleep with another woman, and still be absolutely in love with his fucking wife.
Right.
Like, still a family man, absolutely in love with it. He does it simply for novelty. The hair is kind of split on whether women do it because they've got a little bit of evidence. They've done studies on both. Whether it's the dual mating strategy, which means she settles down with the guy that has the resources, but then she cheats with the guy with the genes.
Okay.
And it actually happens during the ovulatory cycle. So when women ovulate,
Well,
they
that's what
tend
I
to
was
be
saying.
more,
You're looking for the good genes.
yeah, they tend to be more attracted to a more masculine man when they ovulate. And then when they come out of ovulation, they tend to be, their attraction changes just a little bit. But then we got the mate swapping theory also, where it may be a hypergamous reaction where women are looking for their new mate. They're unhappy in a relationship. They're dissatisfied, and so they're now out kind of looking for their next guy.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think about any of that as a woman?
But it all really rings true. I mean, it really does. It makes sense. Makes perfect sense, really. I mean, I could see that, yeah, when women are, ovulating, and it's the more like primal urge to get the more masculine genes for, seed spreading, I guess. And then maybe wanting that more feminine, sensitive guy, when you're not looking to reproduce. Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, with guys, I don't know, just lack of impulse control. Perhaps I don't know. I mean, for women
I
too,
think,
I would imagine. I don't know. I don't know.
well,
I'm a
yeah, guys.
because I'm like I was a chronic monogamous for entirely too long in my life. It was a problem.
Well, I believe in absolute strict monogamy.
Well, I do too.
So I preach monogamy. I say we have always been, as a species, we've been either serial monogamous or poly ever since we have inhabited the earth. We've never. I think monogamy actually got brought apart by the Roman Empire, if I'm not mistaken. I just read about this the other day. Um, so monogamy is
The
better.
Egyptians were non-monogamous way before the Romans were, man. Way before.
Well, they introduced monogamy. So we've always been non-monogamous. We've always been either serial monogamous, which means you settle down with one person at a time, but you never stay with them for life, or poly, where you're kind of just spreading everything around.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Egyptians were doing it way before the Romans in
Were
terms
they
of.
doing monogamy? Were they practicing monogamy? Well, yeah, the Romans introduced monogamy.
Well, I guess it was different in different class groups, though, with the
Okay,
Egyptians.
tell me about that. I want to know about that.
Well, because like it's like the higher ups, obviously, they for seed spreading purposes would keep, you know, 12 wives, and then they would have also their harems beyond their wives. And then like the lower classes, they were more monogamous, just with one
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
interesting. I like that. I'm going to look into that and see maybe see how that translates to nowadays. Although I tend to think no one's truly monogamous nowadays. I like to preach monogamy. I know there are monogamous people out there, but it doesn't. Maybe it's the circles I run in, or maybe it's the women that I tend to go after.
right.
Tend to be they're a little more open. Now, have you heard? Have you heard what was I about to say? I had something really freaking good. Have you heard about cross sex mind reading?
No.
And I'm going to try to highlight as we go how men and women are thinking differently and how there seems to be kind of a disconnect, because I want to really dig into that. But so people were shown, I'm going to just say a couple interesting things that are on my mind. People were shown a picture of a man, and they would either go with a super masculine man, buff, or a kind of a more feminized face. Well, and they asked men, they said, what do you think a woman would be more attracted to? And all of the men tend to pick the men that are more masculine. Well, the women picked men with a more feminized face.
Okay.
So I think we're missing each other in so many different ways. There seems to be so much divisive language between men and women. There seems to be, I talk to guys, and I talked to my bro at the gym the other day, and he just got over a divorce a couple years ago.
Right.
Although he's still seeing his kids and they're still pretty amicable, but I can tell he's coming from a sour place when it comes to women.
Right. Well, and
And
that's the trend I see too, especially online. All these guys are like, settling down. It's not beneficial to men anymore, really. And
what do you
especially,
think about that?
um,
That first part.
what that it's not beneficial, really, to
Yeah.
men anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of tend to agree. I mean,
Okay.
because okay, and when you look at like dating, like dating apps, like a lot of women are
Yeah.
on there, man, just to get free meals.
Yeah.
Like they're not
Yeah.
looking to settle down with you. Like they want you to buy them a meal. And, like they're probably entertaining 10 different guys, getting their
Oh,
dinner bought every night. So I don't know. Like I get where the attitude from guys is coming from. And as far as women not wanting monogamy, honestly, it's probably not as beneficial. Well, that's probably not true.
yeah.
It's not.
Well, say it anyways. Say it. Say whatever comes to your mind, and then we'll pick it apart.
No, right. No, I got to drink before my tact filter falls off completely.
We don't believe in tact on the 3 a.m. podcast. So.
Um, Honestly, for women, like, God, how to put it? I mean, it is beneficial, like, if you're looking for somebody to support you, but, like, women now, we have so much more access to jobs, to a way to support ourselves. So, most women aren't, out here looking to be taken care of. Well, a lot of women are, like I said, I just contradicted myself talking about all these women getting free dinners and shit. Um,
No, that's okay. There's always outliers, right? There's
right.
always something going on the side. There's always outliers. I'd rather cover all of it than just
Right. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that there's a lot of factors with the disconnect. Like I said, it's an instant gratification thing with the internet. Like you don't meet people organically. You used to have to go out. You'd have to go out to a bar and meet people, say hello, be right here. And so yeah, it's just there's a lot of misunderstanding on the internet too. Cause like I said, there's no voice inflection. There's no um, I don't know. People will argue semantics until they're blue in the face. And I'm like, you guys are like arguing the same point. It's fucking stupid. Like what?
yeah.
I don't, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
can't. I have a hard time scrolling through my social media feed because it seems to be so I do tests, I do experiments on social media. Mainly I use my social media as an experiment to see what attracts people, to see what people are against. I tend to so when I scroll down my feed, I see a lot of women talking like I think I saw a post today where this woman said, "Well, if you can't be a man, sit down so I can see the man behind you." And I just think that's such a toxic kind of way to approach a relationship.
No, it is. That is toxic. You know,
Yeah.
it is. It is toxic, and that goes both ways.
Tell me the other way. Tell me the other side of that. 'Cause I want to know the other side of that.
I mean, really, just vice versa. With men, they're like,
Yeah.
well, if you don't want to be, a lot of men are looking for, I've seen a lot of men online actually say that they're more looking for partners that aren't American women because westernized women are not subservient enough. And, I mean, I get it. I get it. If you're a man
Yeah.
and you want somebody subservient, I get it. But, I don't know. I don't know. I'm definitely not that cup of tea myself. But,
Well, I think go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I think there are actually a lot of men who are starting to more of it's right wing men, more conservative men who are starting to date out of the country because they want I think, okay, I'm gonna tell you a 100% straight man fucking answer to all this. Okay. And this
Yep.
is my theory. So you can take it with a grain of salt. I think when feminism came out, I think it was a really good move because women, they weren't allowed to have their own checking accounts. Even after they
Right.
could work, they had to hand their check to their husband. They weren't allowed to vote. So I think feminism, especially the first two waves of feminism, cured a lot of things and helped raise women up where they needed to be. I think in the third and fourth wave of feminism, I think when we start telling women that they don't need men or that they can do what a man can do, I think that that kind of skews the whole. Okay, so
I agree with that.
yeah, think about what if we were in a life-threatening situation. So let's say there's a bunch of men and women and they crash on a desert island and there's nothing there, or there's a fire. It's everyone seems to revert back to their gender roles. And I think and I hate to say gender roles because that's such a
No,
misguided term
no, people
now.
do though. No, people do. Like I watch a lot of the shows like Alone or, Naked and Afraid. And there's a lot of tough ass women out there, but honestly, I mean, yeah, if I was like living off the grid, I'd definitely want a man around. I
Yeah,
mean, hi.
so I think we tend to revert back to our gender roles the second. I think it's something that's so ingrained in us, right? And I didn't like that word subservient. I think that's kind of
Outdated?
yeah, I don't, huh?
Outdated, maybe?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a negative. It seems to have kind of a negative connotation to it.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Submissive. I don't mind submissive because I think a man and woman both submit to each other in different ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
let's
but
circle back to your sons. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, no, and that's what I was gonna say, 'cause, like, like me as a person, I'm very much like a type A personality, but like
Okay. Explain.
when it
Ex-
comes to intimacy, I'm very submissive. It's quite the
can
opposite.
you
So
explain to people what a type A personality is? Just in case there's someone watching that doesn't.
need to be in control of my own
Okay.
circumstances.
Okay. Have there
Um,
been times in your life where you felt out of control?
yeah, I
Or
was
where
married.
you had control taken away from? Huh?
I said, yeah, I was married to a psychopath for 10 years. I
Okay.
had no control. He monitored my phone calls. I wasn't allowed to call my family. I wasn't like he alienated me. So every time he'd get a new DV charge, we'd move to a new state. Yeah, he was charged with felony terrorist threats in California for holding a knife to my throat. And like I said, I found out that he asked his brother what it would cost for me to have an accident. So I whipped his ass. And then all of a sudden he
What?
respected me. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's all it took was me whipping your ass like common fucking bully. Piece of shit.
Okay. So why do you think you stayed so long in that relationship?
Because he told me that if I ever left, he'd kill me and our son and nobody would ever find us. And I absolutely believed him.
Is that the only reason?
No, I was a little more codependent back then.
Okay. Okay. I
I
know
was.
I stayed in a relationship far past that where I should have because I had just lost my leg and I had a horrible self-esteem.
Yeah, right. That's understandable. And
Yeah.
also, I didn't want my marriage to fail, like for my son's benefit,
Okay.
our son, and that's,
Yeah.
I guess comes from more of like my old school dad, I guess, and coming from a broken home myself, I was trying. I mean, because every so often, and that's the cycle of abuse. Like he would try, he would listen, I would talk to him like this is what will help make this better for us. And then, it'd go right back. That's
Yeah.
the cycle of an abuser. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I did my
Sounds
time.
like a special kind of hell.
What's that?
Sounds like a special kind of hell.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah. Have you worked past that trauma?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. 'Cause a lot of control, like needing to have control, a lot of that comes from trauma.
Absolutely.
A lot. Yeah, a lot of that comes from trauma you hold on to, and a lot of men, when men go through trauma, and of course there's different varying degrees of trauma, and we all handle stuff better. Some of us carry it better, some of us don't, and there's never any kind of judgment on that because we're all just individual human beings. I know that when a man experiences trauma, he goes through something really hurtful with a woman, it tends to feminize him, and when a woman goes through trauma, it tends to masculinize her. Because we all have femininity and masculinity in us.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Let's circle back to your sons real quick. How are they doing? What have you noticed anything in their lives with modern society and dating and stuff like that?
Well, my 27-year-old basically just plays video games. He doesn't date. He doesn't seem all that interested.
Okay.
And then my 17-year-old, he has been with the same girl, his high school sweetheart, um, since what? He's just now getting out of his junior year, and he's been with her since his freshman year. So, I mean, like when they first met, their freshman year. So they're doing good. They're happy. Cute kids.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking sweet. That's really fucking sweet. I like that. I like that
Yeah.
idea. I
I
like
don't
the
know.
idea of that.
Right. They seem super happy together. They have a good time.
All right. So, do you ever get approached in person by men?
I actually go out. Yeah. Dude, like even
Okay.
Justin was like, he's like, damn, man. Like when he was here visiting Oregon and we would go out and sing karaoke and he'd go outside to smoke a cigarette and I'd be surrounded by like three motherfuckers. He'd be like, damn, I wasn't gone 5 fucking minutes, bro. I mean,
Those are definitely good woman problems to have. I'm sure. That's
yeah, but no, not
um.
because it makes me not want to go in public.
Do you not want to? So when you're single, do you not want to get approached, or would you rather get approached in person?
Would I rather get approached in person than online? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, because
So
I like talking to people. Like I'm not 100% antisocial. I like going
right.
out, talking to people and shit. Um, most people aren't just looking to have a good conversation. Like they're wanting to take you home that night. I,
Most men.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it. I've done it. I've had my share of one night stands. What, like,
Yeah.
I've had like three between relationships. I've had like 3, 4, I would say, one night stands. But And, you know, they're fun. They're fun, but then you fucking hate yourself the next day.
See, I think a man walks away from that not hating himself at all.
You're fucking going home, wadded up panties in your purse and shit.
So let's circle back to the oxytocin. So you said that people, your idea was that when people just spread themselves around sexually too much and have too many partners, they have a hard time bonding.
Yes. Pair bonding. Yeah.
Yeah, pair bonding. Expand on that, just in case people don't know what you're talking about.
Well, because when you're intimate with a person, when you have sex with a person, you are genetically connected to that person, at least a little
Yeah.
bit. So, yeah, you're spreading yourself around. And the more you spread yourself, the harder it becomes to pair bond
Yeah.
with a person. I mean, that's
Yeah, I've had that idea for a long time. That was probably one of the first concepts that kind of fascinated me when I got into self-improvement and
mm,
started looking at this stuff because I've seen it in person and I've felt it even with myself. So I used to think it was a woman problem. That oxytocin is supposed to be a bonding hormone.
right.
So when you first get into a relationship, your dopamine is and you're going to know a lot about this too. Dopamine is more of a reward chemical. They bioengineered rats. A rat without dopamine, he either couldn't uptake the dopamine or it wouldn't release dopamine in his brain.
Okay.
And if they put a bite of food in his mouth, he would eat it. But if the food was just a rat tails away from him, he would starve. So I look at dopamine as dopamine is the only reason we're here. The dopamine is the only reason we hunted, we ate, we did anything beneficial for the human race. But I know when two people connect and they get together, it's a little bit of a dopamine rush, but it's your norepinephrine goes way up and your serotonin goes down, which
Right.
creates a natural state of anxiety
Right.
because, neurotic and really anxious people have a slower serotonin uptake.
Well, and
And
serotonin is more of, like I was saying, is the instant gratification chemical. Dopamine and oxytocin take longer to release. Like,
okay, so what my idea was that when you're going from maybe the 2 month or 3 month stage where you're pretty much high on coke, you're so in love with this fucking person, you got all these fucking brain chemicals coming out. I think oxytocin then is supposed to carry you over from that stage into the second stage of a relationship where you have to start actually bonding with each other and you have to.
well, right. Well, right. That's like I would say that's like with addiction, any kind of
Yeah.
addiction, like with porn addiction, gambling addiction, or even drug addiction. It's the instant serotonin. The instant high is the serotonin. Oxytocin, yeah, is the long-term feel-good chemical. And
Yeah.
same with dopamine. It's more of a long-term feel-good.
So I have felt that even in myself because I had a period, I got out of a 10-year marriage in my 30s, and I was married since I got out of prison in my 20s. So I never had this whole sleeping around thing. We're waiting on connection. Hold on a second. Let's wait. We're lagging a little bit. Let's let the
I see
connection.
it spinning.
Yeah, go back to Wi-Fi maybe. Let's see if Wi-Fi will carry us better. There we go. We're good. So I noticed when I thought this was just a woman problem. When I first got into self-improvement and I tried looking into masculine, feminine energy, I followed a lot of red pill stuff and actually helped ruin one of my relationships with a woman I really cared about because I was watching all this fucking red pill shit
Right.
online, trying to learn this new stuff. Um, and a lot of people will put this as just a woman problem. If women are having too much sex, they can't pair bond, and it's just women, women, women. I know for a fact that when I was in my 30s and I got out of that 10-year marriage
Right.
and I really slept around a lot, I can see where the more sex even a man is having, just casual sex, the harder it would be to connect with a woman too. So I think that's for the most part, I think that's a male and a female problem.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though we vary by gender, we have the same brain chemicals. You
Yeah,
know,
we do have the same brain chemicals for most part. So I've got another statistic here for anyone watching that wants to know the sources of these statistics, is they're easy to find. You can go to CDC website. You can go to, there are several different databases that carry statistics for people.
Right.
You can pretty much just look it up. I would be careful of Googling anything because I think that sometimes Google is going to point you in the wrong direction. Or they're not going to dig deep enough.
Well, yeah,
But
if I
this
were to
one,
try to write a research paper when I was in college using anything off of like Wikipedia, I would have got laughed out of the classroom. Like, you're better off doing sites that end in either edu or .org.
yeah,
Don't
it's got to be.
don't take
What
your
did you go to
sources from
college for?
anything .com or .net. I can tell you that much.
What did you go to college for?
Psychology.
Okay, did you get a degree?
I went for 5 years and never finished my degree. I'm like 7/8 of the way there and like 50 grand in debt. And I know it's stupid.
Yeah.
I need to finish. I really do.
What got you into psychology?
My crazy ass family.
Okay.
Family's
Were
nuts,
you,
bro.
well, expand on that. What were you trying to solve by getting into psychology?
Well, my mom is bipolar. I mean, she was diagnosed, back when they still called it manic depressive. And
Yeah.
my brother, he's batshit crazy. Like, he spent a lot of time in the Pueblo State Hospital when we were kids. Like, he broke my ribs a couple times. He would beat the shit out of me. He was angry. Like, my mom was told by a few psychologists that some kids are just born angry, and that's my brother, man. Like, I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a phone call and was told that my brother was some kind of fucking serial killer that's been killing people for years.
So let's get a little more personal. How did that affect you that had you get into psychology? What were you trying to figure out?
Why people are fucking nuts?
Okay. All right. That's
It's got the brass tacks of it,
absolutely fair enough. All right, let's circle back to the statistic. 74% to 77% of women, and this is a big study. Smaller study said 95% of women, but I went with the bigger study, the one that was more official. 74 to 77% of women said that men should approach them more often, that they want men to approach them in public. Now, many men think women never want to be approached, and many women believe men have stopped approaching entirely. I've got some theories on this, but
Okay.
I would like to, if you have any thoughts on that, I'd like you to get them out first.
I don't know. In my experience, I don't see men approaching less.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where that statistic comes from, or like, where they took the study, because it certainly wasn't in bars, because there's dudes approaching women all the time in bars. I can tell you that much.
Well, I go drink a half a bottle of vodka and tell the lady across the way that she's hot, even if she's not hot. So that's always a social lubricant. I mean,
Right.
it's a behavior for that.
A 10, she's a 2.
I know.
She's a 10. All of a sudden,
For to approach women in person, although I don't like being rejected, so I still carry some fear.
Yeah.
Of approaching a woman, but then, all right, I'm gonna probably say a hot take here in a minute. I think the Me Too movement fucked everything up. So I will do some land acknowledgement real quick and say that the Me Too movement was very important for women. I think that it took a lot of men out of power that were using that power
Yeah.
to get their way with women, but I think there was a certain point where it went too far. And
Well, yeah.
so if you tell men that you need to be more respectful of women and you need to be very careful when you're talking to them, the only men who are going to listen to that advice are the men who are already respectful of women and they care about that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the men that are just bouncing all over boundaries don't hear that advice. So I think men have gotten a lot of mixed and cross signals over the last several years. I mean, we've got women in the gym setting up tripods with a man in the background for the sole sake. We got a connection issue again. Give us a second. Maybe, try Wi-Fi. Let's see if maybe your Wi-Fi can be stronger than our
Wi-Fi.
So I see, and this is from a man's perspective, and this is what I see a lot, whether it's online, whether it's at the gyms, whether it's in person. I actually went through this phase about a year and a half ago where I thought my ego was getting the best of me, and I started operating from ego because I have a theory that that self-confidence and ego can't exist in the same space. I think you're leading with one or the other all the fucking time. And I think so. I also came up with a theory in the middle of the night when I was talking to my fucking pillow that that I think ego is when you are disconnected from your true values and what you believe in. I think that self-confidence brings you back to your values and you get less anxiety with it. But so I went through the phase where I was hitting on women who were absolutely knockout women in grocery stores who looked unapproachable. I'm talking about the women in no eye contact, decked the fuck out. And I would hunt these women down. I was like, okay, I'm after work. I would keep my work clothes on. I'm filthy. I'm dirty. I'm covered in tattoos. And I would just walk up to them and be like, you were so beautiful. Well, I got horrible results from that, but it did crush my ego. But then I started catching myself. I'm like, man, I'm creeping around these grocery stores, like looking for women. I'm starting to become Michael Myers.
Oh
I'm
God.
creeping aisles. So I cut it out. I cut that out real quick because I thought maybe there were some flawed parts of that experiment. But um, I think men, a lot of us are confused about our place now because we come from thousands of years of hunters, and we took care of the tribe and
Right.
we took care of women, and we died and we hunted and we did all this, and it gives us actually to solve problems releases a chemical in a man's brain. It's a reward chemical. And it's because he said, so anytime people are like, oh, he's just trying to, you're not listening to me, you're trying to solve the problem, it's because men literally cannot help but try to solve your problems. I mean, there are, of course, outliers, and there's, of course, ways that men could probably stop doing that and start kind of bypassing that. But I thought that was a really interesting thing. But I think we've been left with, we don't know where we are in the world anymore.
Good old
Are we supposed to approach this woman? Are we supposed to tell her she's pretty? Or are we going to end up on the internet? I see it through Facebook. I see it through social media. I see women putting these half naked pictures up all the time, every day, or their dialogue is all about sex. And then they'll put up a post and say, men need to stay out of my fucking inbox. And it's almost like a virtue signaling thing.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is we're getting a lot of mixed signals as men. We're getting a lot, and I want you to counter this if you have a counter to this. From a woman's side, I think a lot of men are getting mixed signals. We don't know where we belong in the world. We're told masculinity is fucking toxic. We are told women now have access to the resources, which is great. But where does that leave men, and where does that leave men in a woman's life?
I don't really have a counter to that because, yeah, there are women that are, putting themselves out there, or, and that kind of goes the same with like people that'll put up a big old like personal rant and then tell people to stay out of their business. Like,
Yes.
come on, man. Like you
Yeah.
can't. So no, I don't really have a counter for that one. Sorry.
Okay, what are your thoughts on social media? And now I've heard it said a lot that social media is causing people to cheat. The social media is ruining relationships. What is your take on it?
I would say absolutely because
Okay.
again, it's so much easier access to people.
Yeah.
There's all these dating sites, you got Tinder and what all the other ones, I don't know, Bumble is out there. And what do you got? I don't know, other ones. But
So we've got we have a lot of go ahead.
it's
Huh?
just easy. It's just easy. It's easy to access.
Too
So
many options. I think when we were in tribes and we were thousands of years ago, we're in caves, we maybe ran into 11 or 12 potential mates over the course of our lifetime.
right.
And now there are thousands and thousands and thousands at the tip of your fingers on the phone, to where if we get in a fight and we're dating or we're in a relationship, we get in a fight, the easiest, the path of least fucking resistance to feel better about yourself after a fight, during a fight, anything like that, is to reach out and get validation from somebody else.
Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And
So I'm not.
and it's easier, well, and quicker too. Like, so, when you can go online and say, hey, meet me around the corner,
Yeah.
well, you only need 30 minutes to cheat on your spouse, before you'd actually have to be out all night. You'd have to go out to a bar and search it out. It's just
And you
easier. It's just
and you
easier to get to.
and you had a phone hanging on the wall.
Right?
So I think so my take on it is I think social media has made it easier for people to cheat, but I think people have been cheating and fucking their relationships off for so long that we're gonna see I think we're gonna see more and more of it happening. And with birth rates declining, I've got another statistic here
Mm.
about birth rates. So let me see if I can find it because my fucking chicken scratches. Maybe I didn't write this one down. So birth rates are declining. I believe there were 3 or 4 kids per woman 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. And as of today, there were 1.6 kids per woman. So our birth rates are declining below our recovery rate. So I think at this point, if our birth rates continue to decline, we're not going to be able to replenish, right? We're not going to be able to recover from that. And I think it's us, Japan, and maybe Korea or Italy. Us, Japan, and Italy have the lowest birth rates. And I think it's been the lowest birth rate since recorded history. I think we've always been making babies. What do you think could be the cause of that?
Birth control? The
Yeah.
women didn't have access to birth control back, Oh, it says
Well,
we're reconnecting again here. Oh, wait, there we go. Okay. I mean, yeah, because like when I look at my dad's family, he's from an Irish Catholic family from New York, and they had 8 children, but that's because they didn't use birth control. She had, and
Yeah.
then my mom, she's an only child. She's from San Diego. She's like French, Cherokee, Aztec, Oaxacan, and Spanish, and she's an only child. And I don't know. I think people in California were a little more progressive, also. Back in even in the 60s and 50s and 60s. But I don't know. Honestly, I'm on the fence about like the whole birth rate decline thing because honestly, are less people in the world a bad thing?
Well, if we can't replenish the world, I think that if birth rates are declining, so are families. I think families are very good for society. I think monogamy is good for society. I think families are very good for kids. I think with the birth rates declining, I think my take on it. So I think birth control was probably one of the worst things that could have happened to us. And that's because I don't think we were meant. They actually wrote in Cosmopolitan several years ago, and then there was Call Me Daddy was an old podcast where they were really progressive. It was run by women, I think one guy, and they were really progressive about free sex and spreading it around. There was a Cosmopolitan article teaching women how to have sex without becoming emotionally attached. And I think that probably says everything we need to know about just going out and fucking. I think that with I was about to spread out onto something else too. So with the birth rates declining and birth control, let's circle back. Birth control. There have been more abortions in single mother households since birth control came out.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I can see that being 100% a true statistic.
Yeah. So I hate the discourse between men and women. I hate that. I think it's just going to get worse and worse. We have AI coming out now. We have sex robots. And I think 69 million Americans downloaded an AI intimate, a significant other app.
I saw that post of yours. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that's ridiculous. So I think we have a lot to lay at the feet of the discourse of men and women. But I think I like to just kind of circle in on several aspects of it, but I think there's such a broad picture to be looked at and so many outliers in that picture that can be contributed to it. We got AI, we got sex robots, we got risk aversion. We don't like being hurt. You know that if you sit there and you think about asking somebody out and imagine in your mind that they say yes, you don't really feel any joy from that. But if you imagine in your mind that they said no, you're actually go through the physical symptoms of getting rejected. Right. So I think it's a lot of risk aversion. I think that we're missing each other. I would love to open a dialogue somehow between men and women so that they could actually get together and talk to each other, and we wouldn't have so many walls with the cross-sex mind reading, because we're all trying to figure each other the fuck out. But
Right.
there's something missing along the way, and I think that we need to. I think there has to come a point, and it's got to be soon, where there's some kind of a platform where men and women can have an open dialogue with each other with honest questions, with truly getting to know the other. Maybe like I don't think it's good for women to get dating advice from girlfriends, and I don't think it's good for men to get dating advice from men because 'cause you're
Absolutely.
not dating men.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
100% agree with that. I've said that before.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? We got men writing articles. Like, I understand a man writing an article or doing a video about asking men to step it up. Women are hypergamous now, so we've got this whole culture of incel men that hate women and they're like, I'm just unattractive. I'll never get a woman. And so they're in their mom's basement or they're playing video games or they're talking shit with this confirmation bias where the algorithms for social media will find your confirmation bias and put you in an echo chamber. And
Yeah,
then it just
absolutely.
rolls over and rolls over and rolls over. But we got all these incel men that are, I guess they hate women for a better term, and then we've got all these women that seem to hate fucking men. And
Oh, yeah.
I think we carry that into our intimate relationships. I think we carry that into our dating approaches and our dating strategies. And I think that's just another small piece of the puzzle that if we did more time and we spent more time looking at ourselves than we looked at either our exes or this woman I'm talking to, or she didn't text me back and I'm pissed off, or she's probably doing this, or whatever the fuck goes through our mind right away when
Right.
we're dealing with the opposite sex. I think if we took more personal accountability and we focus more on ourselves, we'd become more competent people, both in dating and in life.
Well, yeah, I
So
mean,
I would
self-awareness
correct.
is never a bad thing. Introspection is hard for a lot of people, though, people, no, that's what I was saying with, people that have high emotional intelligence get my respect because it's usually the people that work on it and that
Yeah.
know that they should, you know.
I like that. I had a thought like that the other night where I was thinking, I don't understand. I think it's actually after I got jumped on Facebook for a post, which I'm going to repeat this fucking post on video, where 7%, they did a
Oh,
study. They don't study this stuff a whole lot. They don't study women in porn a whole lot. It's more been men in porn put under the magnifying glass.
right.
But they did a study, and roughly, okay, 6% of the world population is addicted to alcohol.
What's
Well,
the
they did a
percentage?
study where, yeah, addicted to alcohol, 6% of the world population.
6%. Okay.
7% of women in the oh, we got connection. Hold on. 7% of women are addicted to porn. So it's a really hot take. It's just I knew I was going to get jumped a little bit, you know, but it's just so that's actually really stressed me out. I knew what I was walking into there. I posted that post. It was in my notes on my phone for a while before
Um,
my balls dropped, and I was like, put this post on the fucking internet. I knew what I was walking into, but I got so stressed out. I was called a man hater or a woman hater. Like
oh my God.
I had women in my fucking inbox talking shit to me. I got offended, and I knew this was going to happen, but it still gave me so much fucking anxiety
Oh,
that
yeah.
I had a hard time sleeping that night. But I think that if we can just get together somehow and we can get out of our own, I like that you mentioned echo chambers earlier, and we can get out of our own personal echo chambers, which we tend to put ourselves into because it's comfortable for us.
Well, yeah.
We even tend to surround ourselves with people. If we feel really negatively about ourselves, we are actually more comfortable with people who feel negative about us.
Right. Well, it's like,
So
I was so enamored with the term cognitive dissonance the first time I ever heard it many, many years ago. I was like, oh, yeah, that uncomfortable feeling you get when you get new information, you know? Like,
have
no,
you ever heard
no.
have you ever heard the term Overton window? Okay, so let's say I've been working on men's mental health and trying to bring it to light and at least try to somehow bring it into people's face for a couple years now, where
Well,
I think we need a new model for men's mental health. I think that the old model was built around a woman.
Yeah.
It was actually Freud with Annie O. Freud was having a session with Annie O who had schizophrenia. And she said during the session, she said, will you just shut the fuck up and let me talk? So he literally stopped talking. She talked for an hour and said, I feel so much better. So that is where our
Right.
mental health model has come from. I've been trying. So an Overton window, let's say I come with a crazy idea on the internet. Let's say I say, you know what? Women are fucking below men and men need to be running everything and women shouldn't be voting anymore. And I stick with that for a little while. People are going to have this this thought about that. It's going to be a very negative thought. But then what if after a while I dial that back and I say, okay, I think that we need to respect women, but I think that we still need to go with the gender roles. I hate gender roles. I wish there was a better way to say it. I think we still need to go back with the way we relate to each other, where the man runs the household. Well, that is an Overton window shift if people pick up on that, because I introduced a very wild idea and then I scaled it back a little bit. You see it in politics a lot. Then I scaled it back a little bit to something that was a little more digestible.
Right.
So I think it's the thing with men and women too. I think eventually the Overton window has to shift to where we're like, you know what? I'm tired of hating women. And the women are like, you know what? I'm tired of hating men. I'm tired of the way my dating life, my love life is. I'm lonely. I don't want to die alone. Maybe there's a better approach to it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can hope. I mean, all a person can do is put more information out there and, talk to people and hope that they show a little bit of introspection. Like I said, it's hard to do, not a lot of people are that emotionally intelligent. So it's
I'd like to brainstorm. I'm trying to come up with some sort of a platform where men and women can have honest discussions.
right.
That's all.
Yeah.
A woman can say she wants a 6-foot man with a 6-inch dick and 6-figure income.
Right.
But if a man puts on the internet, he wants a woman with the hip to waist ratio that turns him on,
Mm.
he will be called a misogynist.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think there are a lot of
There's
different.
a lot of double standards out there for sure.
Yeah, and I think it works both ways too. A lot of men think that they should be fucking all kinds of women because that's their genetic history or whatever, their evolutionary history, and women need to stay at home. So I think there's a lot of double standards that go both ways, but it would be nice to see a platform where it's not like that. I think someone developed a dating app where it's not so much about swipes, which might be a step in the right direction.
Right. I mean, yeah, for sure.
So I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I have a ritual that I do with guests that come on the podcast at the end of the podcast, and I didn't tell you about this before because I figured I'd catch you off guard. I like to ask somebody, because we're really raw. I like to stay really raw. I've sat on a video and cried before.
Oh,
Just sit here, like I've shown pretty much every side of myself and I like keeping it raw, and I like keeping the humanity about it because it's all about humanity. What do you still struggle with that you don't like to talk?
what do I still struggle with? Trust
That
issues?
would
Maybe anxiety, really. I mean, I don't know, trust issues. Trust issues. I don't know if there's anything really that's scary for me to talk about. I don't know. I don't give a shit. I'll talk about most anything, really.
what do you get anxiety about?
I have social anxiety, mostly.
Okay.
Just
Okay. Have you
takes
reverse
me a lot
engineered
of time.
that?
It takes me I'm pretty introverted. Like, it takes me a lot of time to recharge my batteries after I go out and
Okay.
am around a lot of people. Like, it takes me a lot of time. Like, I will just have to sit and, like, stare at the stars, or, like, I have a lot of videos on my Facebook of just, like, sitting out and, like, watching lightning. Just I need quiet. I need to not have people in my ears. My mom asks me all the time. She's like, "Don't you ever get lonely, Sarah?" I'm like, "Nope, I don't. I don't. I don't, man.
So what are your, if I can ask, what are your trust issues around? And how does that affect you? How does that affect your dating life? How does that affect your relationships? How does that affect your life?
Trust issues?
Yeah. Because you mentioned that just a minute.
Yeah. I mean, really, the trust issues are just not necessarily that a man is physically unsafe, but that maybe he's not in the same place as I am. And like, I'm a very empathetic person. So I don't put myself out there if there's a chance that it's going to come back on me. I just don't. Like, I'm
Can you reframe that? What do you mean come back on you? In the chance it might hurt you?
right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because, and that's, I think, why it takes me so long to recharge too after I'm around a lot of people and why I'm so introverted is because I'm very empathetic. I absorb people's energy. Like if
Okay.
I just do, like I feel it in my bones. Like if you're negative around me, I'm like, I feel it. I feel it. I like to be around, uh, not many people really. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know.
Could that tie into your anxiety a little bit? The trust issues? You think the trust issues and the anxiety are kind of tied
Oh,
together?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I don't know. But I think that that's probably a common problem, if you think about it.
Yeah.
The fear of being
It's the sort.
hurt, the fear of putting yourself out there, and that's probably where the disconnect comes from. And
Yeah,
that's
it's a risk aversion we were talking about earlier. I think that's why birth rates are declining. I think that's why people are having less sex, and I think that's why people aren't partnering up as much. I think it's the fear of being hurt. I think I've figured out in my own life. I've carried hurt to hurt to hurt to hurt
all
from
right.
relationship. I got four failed marriages. And
Ooh,
I will be married again someday because I believe in the institution of marriage. I don't think it serves men. I have been robbed completely in family court before. I have been just
damn.
spread over the fucking coals in family court and got my ass handed to me
Damn.
horribly. Um, but I noticed something in myself when I started looking at myself and figuring out, we're the common denominator in all of our failings,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's
Absolutely.
relationship, dating, life. And I think sometimes we forget, and I forget that sometimes. And
Yeah.
sometimes it'll take me a month or
Yeah,
two.
you fell again. Okay.
And sometimes it'll take me a month or two to actually have to look at myself because I've got this huge fucking ego takes over sometimes.
Right.
But I noticed for myself, like I was seeing somebody, I won't go too far. I'm doing a whole episode on this. Actually, all right. I'm gonna just tease the episode real quick. I was actually hanging out with a escort
Right.
for for several weeks, maybe a month or so. She's really aggressive. I wasn't paying for sex or anything. And I used it partially as an experiment because I wanted to really dig into her and analyze that side of what's going on now with the free sex and just the way young women are kind of just putting themselves out like they're like that. But
Right.
I noticed even hanging out with this escort where I said, okay, I'm just going into it as an experiment. We're hanging out. I'm not, but she's coming to me all the time. I don't have to. I still started feeling this knot in my chest
Mm.
of anxiety, of fear, of like, oh my God, if I hang out with this woman too long right now, I'm gonna get hurt, right? So
Mm.
I noticed even with that, where it was a no risk um scenario where I knew everyone knew what was going on. I noticed for myself that I still have a lot of work to do around trauma and relationships and stuff like that because I still tend I you don't heal outside of the presence of someone else if you got hurt by somebody else.
Mm.
It it's a very common thing. We all think that we heal, and I sat in my living room and healed, and I actually use this a lot, this metaphor a lot. Let's say I go into a dark alley and get jumped.
All right.
And then I go into a dark alley and get jumped, and I go 4 times into a fucking dark alley, different dark alleys, and I get jumped. I can sit in my living room, I can journal, and I can do all the self-talk, and I can fucking heal, right, by myself. But the second I walk into a fucking dark alley, I'm going to feel that trauma. So I think whatever you experience in a relationship, you have to heal in a relationship. Whatever I experience in that dark alley, I have to go into that dark alley and make it through that dark alley in order to let that trauma go.
I guess that's like a breakdown of face your fear, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's the same as exposure therapy for anxiety, right? I think it all kind of ties together a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will wrap this up. We're at 76 minutes in. I
Okay.
really, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much.
I know. I'm
Um,
gonna be on the interweb. No, I actually have a few videos on Facebook of me singing from like years and years ago.
okay. Well, this will be posted. I'm gonna try to get some clips out of it, but this will be posted, and I'll put it up on YouTube through my page, and then I'll share it to Facebook and tag you in it on Facebook. But
All
I
right.
will send you. I will text you the link so you can see it before I do all that.
No problem. All right. That worked.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Good talk, Kevin.
Bye.